Today's demonstration is a vegan quinoa chili. And the awesome thing about quinoa is that it's packed with a lot of good nutrients. Just a small quarter cup of quinoa packs 6 grams of protein. It also has lots of vitamins and minerals in it. And so it's really nice and filling without adding meat like a traditional chili would have. So for the recipe, we're gonna start with some quinoa. Quinoa does have kind of a powdery film on it, and so you want to always rinse it. And if you look on the back of the directions of quinoa, it will always say to rinse it. And so you can rinse it either in, you could just pour it into a small bowl, kind of pour some water in it, let it sit for a minute, and then drain it out. Or if you have a fine mesh sieve, you can rinse it in that. Now that I have my quinoa rinsed, I'm gonna put that into a small pot, and then to that, I'm going to add a half of a cup of water. And then I'm going to cook this covered over medium heat until the water is absorbed out, about 10 or 15 minutes. I do want to make sure to check it after 10 minutes because I don't want to overcook it if the water does absorb out. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the vegetables that are going to go into my chili. And so first, half of a small onion. This recipe makes probably about 3 full-size servings. You can definitely double this for a bigger family. And so we're going to chop the onion. Onions are almost impossible to peel whole. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half from pole to pole. And then I'm gonna cut the non-root end off of the onion. And now you can see it's just really easy to peel the onion. All right, and then the onion does say to be chopped, so I'm going to do my diagonal knife slits into the onion to prepare it for chopping. And then with the tip of my blade down, I'm gonna just go ahead and start getting that chopped up. Next up, I have 1/2 to 1 jalapeno pepper diced. And so it just depends on how spicy you like it. You can omit it if you don't like spice at all. I'm gonna cut the jalapeno in half, and then I'm actually gonna use a spoon to scrape out both the seeds and that white membrane, which are the spicier parts of the jalapeno. All right, and then dice means to cut into between 1/8 and 1/4 inch cubes. So I'm just gonna go through and cut some strips, making sure to have my fingers curled under into that bare claw. And then go back the other way and dice it. If you noticed while I was cutting the jalapeno, when I got to the end, I actually took my non-knife holding hand off. And that just really helps when you're trying to cut a small little amount to prevent injury from cutting yourself with the knife. All right, next up, I have 1 large carrot peeled and chopped. In my house, we actually already had some baby peeled carrots. It's a nice snack that we have for us and the girls. So I'm just going to use those instead of a full carrot, maybe using about 4, maybe use a couple more. And I'll go ahead and chop those up. ingredient that I'm going to prepare is my green onion. And so this, we want it cut up into small pieces similar in size to our carrots. And so with a pepper, you don't want to use any of the seeds or the inside of the white membrane. I actually like to just go around the pepper if I'm chopping it up or dicing it up or whatever, and just cut the sides off. And then all of that you can just throw away instead of trying to dig in and pull it out. And then I may have a little white membrane left on the pepper that I need to trim away, but there won't be as much as if you try to just take the top off of the pepper and go that way. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this up. Next up, we're going to mince our garlic. It says 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. It just depends on how much you like garlic. Garlic is almost impossible to peel whole, just like an onion is. So you want to go ahead and cut off the ends of the garlic and then just peel that hard membrane away. Then from here, we'll cut into small slices. And then we'll cut it into a fine chop using our rocking chopping motion, non-knife holding hand, either off the cutting board or on top of the knife. All right, so now we're ready to start putting together our chili. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to be putting a tablespoon of olive oil into a pan, and then I'm gonna get that heated up over medium heat. Once the oil has been heating up for a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my onions and cook those until tender, about 5 minutes. Once my onions are tender, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest of my ingredients. So I've got my minced garlic, I've got my jalapeno, my carrot, and green pepper. And we're gonna go ahead and cook these until the vegetables are tender, about 10 minutes. If they start browning, you'll wanna go ahead and turn your heat down. And if there's not enough moisture left in your pan, you can also add in a little bit more olive oil or a little bit of water, just to help the vegetables from not browning or burning while you are cooking them till they're tender. Okay, my vegetables have been cooking for about 10 minutes. Nice and tender. I do have a little bit of brown bits on the bottom of the pan. Perfectly fine. When we add liquid, that will all kind of burn off. And so what I'm gonna do now is add in the beans. I'm choosing to use chili beans, which are like a red bean or a kidney bean in chili sauce, just because I really like that added chili flavor. We are going to be adding in chili powder into the recipe, so this will kind of double that chili flavor. But if that's something you like, you can use chili beans. If not, you can use red beans or kidney beans or black beans. And then I'm also going to be adding in some fire roasted diced tomatoes. They don't have to be fire roasted. You can just use regular diced tomatoes. I just really like that smoky flavor that the fire roasted tomatoes add to this chili. And then I'm going to stir in 1 cup of water or vegetable broth. If you're not worried about making it vegan, you could add in chicken broth or beef broth. I'm just going to add in some plain water. so that mine does stay vegan because I did not have any vegetable broth. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and stir in my cooked quinoa. And so all the moisture in the quinoa has cooked down, but it's not sticking to the bottom and it's not burnt or anything like that. So it's perfectly ready to get used. This will add a nice bite to it, the chili, making it feel, you know, more satisfying instead of just a bowl of vegetables, but without adding in any meat. And now I'm going to season with my chili powder and my cumin, and then a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'm just gonna give everything a really nice stir. And I'm gonna cover and simmer the chili on low for about 30 minutes. I do wanna make sure it comes to a simmer, so I'll check it after about 5 minutes. Simmer means that it has small little bubbles in the liquid that break before they get to the surface. And here I have my final product, a nice, hearty, thick, vegan quinoa chili.